Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's One Piece Treasure Cruise video we are going to do another tier list for the new month cycle of the Medal Exchange shop, so without further ado, let's get to it. A disclaimer to start the video: I don't know why, but the images of the units are not rendering properly in the website I am using, so I am really sorry for the bad quality of the images, but hopefully the units are still distinguishable. And on top of that, I won't be repeating myself with the units that were available last month as well, so all of the World Journey units and Rare Recruit support units that are available and were available in previous months are already in the tier list, as you can see. And finally, something to emphasize, as I always do, the Rare Recruit supports might be great support units, but because they are pullable from every Sugofest and reward ticket, I cannot place them over the good but not really worth tier, because at some point you are going to pull them from a Sugofest, but spending 100 medals to get them isn't always the best idea. Let's now talk about the units that became available this month. First of all, we have some Valentine units: Mansery, Margaret, Boa Hancock and also Miss Valentine. None of them are worth it, they are only here for collection purposes, and the same goes for Treasure Map Rare Recruit Jozu, Inuarashi and Vista. For the new support Rare Recruits, I will actually place all of them in the good but not really worth tier. Izo is actually decent, being able to manipulate badly matching slots, but I did not even know he has a support, so you are not going to use him all of the time. I'm not recommending you to pick him up. Valentine Nami is one of the best Rare Recruit supports in the game, but still, I cannot place her higher, you are going to pull her at some point. And Crocus is actually one of the very few supports in the game, and he's also not a limited Rare Recruit support, that can remove burn, which is very nice for him. He can give you a damage reduction shield and some healing. Very niche as a support, but if you do need what he provides as utility, he can definitely be useful. Getting into the legends for 150 medals, both V1 Bartolomeo and V1 Judge will go in the decent but only for level limit break tier. Simply enough, they get much better with their level limit breaks, but at the same time, these are a lot of medals to spend on these units, because even with level limit break, I don't see you using them often. V1 Bartolomeo can now provide an attack boost, an ore boost and even a color affinity boost. Only for two classes though, specifically Striker and Driven, and then Judge, who actually has two forms, the Psi one and the Int one with his Super Evolution. He can now remove 10 turns of Bind with his Psi form and 10 turns of Despair with his Int form, on top of more damage and utility, which sounds pretty nice on paper. And Judge, especially the Psi version, was always a decent Bind remover and ore booster, and now being able to provide it for 3 turns, the ore boosting, is nice. But because you need him at maximum level limit break level, I cannot really recommend you to max him out through the Medal Exchange. If it happens from your pools at some point, then so be it, but I don't think he is really worth the medals. Simply saving for legends you're missing is definitely a better choice. For 250 medals, first up we have V2 Jinbe, who, I will be honest, is just a badly designed legend. I will place him in the not worth tier. He does have a level limit break, it does make him better, but again, it's definitely not worth to spend medals on Jinbe to level limit break him. He is objectively becoming better for a couple of reasons. First of all, he can provide a 3-turn attack boost for Strength, Dex and Psi units. He can provide the beneficial slot buff for all type slots for 3 turns, which is great to actually counter the non-beneficial slot debuff the final stage boss can provide you. And then he can also remove slot bind by 10 turns. Not a lot of units do that, but we are not going to encounter it often anyway. They actually made him a bit better because as a captain now, in the final stage he can actually provide you the slots he needs, so his special gives you even more value, but you are not really going to use him as a captain. Overall, I am not a fan of this unit and I wouldn't really advise you to get it. The other legend for 250 medals is V1 Shirahoshi Marsery, definitely a better legend than V2 Jinbe. I will place them in the probably worth tier. I definitely considered the 100% worth tier, but I don't think this is a unit that fits in every team. It is definitely a very good utility unit, it is a very unique unit as well because it gives you the ability to remove 10 turns of any debuff you have placed on the crew without limiting you to a specific debuff, which can be extremely strong. But at the same time, it's not something you are going to need a lot of the time, hence why I cannot place them higher in the tier list. But this is definitely a unit that if you have available in your box and can use whenever you need it, is definitely an upgrade to your collection. Moving on to the 400 medal price range, I think I have some controversial opinions, but at the same time they might not be. I think Kaido vs Big Mom is definitely not worth it at all. In my opinion, they actually are not even worth 250 medals, but they have placed them in the 400 medal price range. They were cool when they came out because they were the first versus unit, but I think now they are kind of outdated. They can still be useful, but for 400 medals, I just cannot recommend them over saving the medals for other units you are missing. Then we have V2 Magellan, who I also don't think is worth it, especially for 400 medals. He is not a horrible super type legend, but even the utility he can provide through his captain ability, which is paralysis removal, can actually be found in 4 other Q legends, all better than Magellan. Kikuizo, Super Tandem Law, Black Maria, and even the new Super Evolution of Uta. Do they all do the same thing? Obviously not, but being able to remove paralysis was something special to Magellan when he came out. Now it's definitely not, because every new Q legend for some reason has to remove paralysis for 10 turns, which definitely doesn't make Magellan that special anymore. He can be too reliant on his double special activation limit break ability being maxed out. He can provide some utility and a good color affinity boost, but in my opinion that's not enough to justify 400 medals. So let's move on to Summer Reiju. I will place her in the good but not really worth tier. Reiju is actually good. She can provide a 3-turn attack boost, she can provide an ore boost through her super type ability. She can also completely remove paralysis and poison. She can manipulate poison slots of course, and even activate her special automatically, which can be very good. The thing with Reiju is that she is super type int, and there are so many super type int units that are amazing and maybe even better than Reiju to use in majority of situations. Hence why I cannot really put her higher. She's a decent legend though. And finally we have V2 Oden or Superclass Oden. I am not the biggest fan of this unit, and I do not know if this is a hot take or not, but I think he's a bit overrated. I think people love Oden, so perhaps they tend to overrate his units a bit. That was the case with V1 Oden before his Super Evolution. A lot of people were saying he's at the same level as Roger or even better than him, which definitely was not the case. And now with V2 Oden coming out with Kinemon Denjiro, a lot of people were hyped for him when he was coming out, but at the test of time, I think Kinemon Denjiro is a way better unit. Oden is good but not really worth, that's where I am going to place him alongside Reiju. I think he definitely can provide value to your team and he can definitely provide damage, but the main thing I have used him for is his color affinity boosting. Not even the unique buffing to your boosts in attack and orbs over the duration of 3 turns is something I have used him a lot for. That can definitely be useful, but you also do not need it all the time to beat a quest, especially if we consider that the main thing we are team building for nowadays is Kizuna. He can also provide you with a 3-turn attack boost if you already have a color affinity boost, which is nice, and then he has some utility with damage reduction and healing, which hasn't been relevant in my opinion after the quest that came along with his release. The chain growth boost from his superclass is definitely nice, but the slot manipulation is 100% lacking because it doesn't go through block slots, and he is not an amazing captain either. That's just my opinion though, and my tier list for this month's medal exchange. Definitely share your opinions in the comments down below, I can't wait to read them, and if you enjoyed this video, definitely leave a like, I would really appreciate it. As always, thank you so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.